In 2021, what's the state of play with Google Stadia? Hi, I'm Jake Sinfield, and today we're going to take a look at Google Stadia. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions and tell you whether I think it's worth your money. If you like this video, don't forget to follow me on all the socials at FutureProofJake. Here we're putting up all our notifications of videos and new dates for when I'm going to be Twitch streaming some Apex Legends. Also smash that little bell to keep up to date. Let's get on with the video. Google Stadia is a cloud streaming gaming service that allows you to play games directly from either an app on your phone, through a Chromecast or web browser. There's no need for a console. All the games are streamed directly to your device. On its release in 2019, it was marketed as the best place to play video games. See an ad on YouTube? You're supposed to click it and jump straight into it. This unfortunately still hasn't come to fruition and has now been mocked industry-wide for a lack of games and an expensive price tag. There was originally only the Stadia Pro subscription, which you had to pay monthly for, as well as your games on top. Now this has been adjusted slightly. The subscription model is still there, but there is also a free tier. The free tier now works as a storefront for streaming your games. Once you purchase a game, you can jump straight in. No need for installation, just more time to play. The Pro tier costs $8.99 a month. This gets you 4K plus 5.1 surround sound. It also comes with an updating list of monthly free games. To get the best experience with Stadia, you need to have a decent internet connection. Otherwise, you're going to have crashes and frame drops, and it's just not enjoyable. But if your connection is solid, at least at a minimum 25 megabits a second plus, Stadia is fast, snappy, a pretty decent way to play. Most households in the UK just don't have the internet speeds, so they make the best use of the Pro subscription. So for £9 a month, just for 4K, you're better off sticking with the free tier. Yeah, you get the free games, but with such a small library of games in the first place, the free ones aren't always the best. To be able to use Stadia, you can use any Bluetooth capable controller. This means it can be used by any Xbox or PlayStation controllers or mouse and keyboard. You can also purchase the Stadia controller for £59. The difference with this one, it's not just Bluetooth, it's also wireless compatible, so it can work on your network. So if you're running on a PC, you don't have to use Bluetooth. This then improves the input lag and is a little bit better to use than the others. Makes your games feel a bit quicker, a bit snappier. It's not the nicest controller I've used, but it's fine. Fits comfy in the hand. If you're a PlayStation user, you'll be used to the inset sticks. The buttons are a bit clicky as opposed to smooth, but it does the job. And it also charges by USB Type-C, which we like to see. Syncing the controller and setting up Stadia is fairly straightforward. Once you've set up your account, you click on the controller icon and it gives you a series of buttons to press to sync the controller and you're ready to go. Stadia's games library is small. They've been making deals with companies to bring their titles to the platform. But because it's so new, there just isn't a legacy of titles on there yet. There's a lot of the major releases, but overall the selection is pretty slim. Not only that, to cover costs, Stadia's titles are generally a bit more expensive than on other platforms. So to fill out your library, you're having to pay more money to get less of what you want. Also, their store doesn't have a search function. For a platform that's based around a search algorithm, and you don't have a search function within your library, it's crazy. So to find any games you want to view, you've got to scroll through the store, which is easy at the moment because there isn't enough games. I didn't purchase any titles, but I played some of the free games that was available. I jumped into Destiny and some Bomberman. I found Destiny to be a really good experience. The quality didn't look as good as what it does on my Series X, but that's without a Pro subscription. That's just at 1080p. But it played well. My internet managed to keep up. There was very little frame drops and I didn't have a single crash. It's also cross-save, so I was able to bring my characters through from the Xbox onto Stadia and continue where I was playing. You just have to link the accounts easily and simply through the Bungie.net website. The only main drawback is that Destiny's free also on the Xbox with all the expansions, whereas on Stadia, it's just the base game. you'd have to pay extra for the expansions. So if you were in a certain section of your game that was in one of these expansions, when you loaded back into Stadia, you wouldn't be in the right place. And you wouldn't be able to play that content unless you purchased the expansions. But it did feel good to play. And I compared it to xCloud, and I played Destiny on that, and the Stadia experience was better. It loaded up quicker, it felt better to play, there was less input lag, it felt less spongy. I was definitely able to get more shots in. But this just shows that Stadia's tech is solid, they just need to keep up with everyone else. The service should have been released in beta and everyone should have known about the fact that it had so many more improvements to be made. But to come out at full price, with limited capabilities and services compared to what you were originally offering, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Not to mention now they've also disbanded all of their first-party studios, so there's not going to be any Stadia exclusive titles. This makes it increasingly more difficult to recommend Stadia. But then you've got games like Cyberpunk. I haven't played it, but from what I've been told, it was an excellent way to play it. There's all this controversy over the previous generation consoles not being able to run Cyberpunk properly, but Stadia was the best place to play it. They didn't advertise that, they didn't push that. That would seem like a prime topic to advertise your platform, especially with all the heat and the news around Cyberpunk, but it didn't happen. Now let's talk about Bomberman Type R. That's an online multiplayer game that requires other people to be available to play with you. Otherwise the servers are too empty. And that's the experience we had with Bomberman. It took so long to get into a game because there's not enough people playing. And some of the games you did get into didn't have enough players, so the empty spaces were filled with bots, which then lessens the experience overall. But once it was running, the game was good. It played well, same as Destiny, no frame drops. I had no crashes, but you're just spending too much time waiting in lobbies. Google has a history of just dropping its poor performing services. There's always that worry in the back of your mind if you're a Stadia gamer and you've purchased titles within the platform, that at some point Google's just going to drop it and say it's just not worth the money to keep going. But then what happens to you when you invested your time and your money into that platform? You're left with nothing to show for it. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but with Google's track record, it's always a fear. Which is not what you want when your customer base has to invest a substantial amount of their own money into your service to keep using it. And then when your competition is Microsoft and xCloud, that isn't going anywhere fast. And also Nvidia with Nvidia Shield, and Amazon Luna and Shadow, which are all different variations on this cloud concept. Can Stadia hold out? Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. We post new videos every Friday. Why don't you add a comment down below? Tell me what you guys think of Google Stadia. Do you think it's going to be sticking around? Is it a good product? Like and subscribe to stay up to date with new content. And if you like this video, here's 2 others you might enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.